So, very good morning to you all. So, we have been discussing some past paper questions relevant to module 1 to 4, right? And last week we discussed a question related to microfinancing, this one, and also we discussed a question project lending related question. Any sort of ambiguity, further clarification on these two before we are moving to the question number 3? Any questions? Anything? Right. So then we'll move to the question number 3. If anything, just kind of technical stuff, please let me know, because today, the presentation was not uploaded correctly. Apparently, I presume that you can see the Word document, right? If anything, please let me know. So the question number 3 is basically again relevant to SME credit related question. It says there are a number of conventional credit related products available in banks and other financial lending institutions to cater their customers, including SMEs. So these lending related products are offered after evaluating the creditworthiness of the customers. So briefly state the 5 C's of credit to evaluate the customers. Actually, this is that, we know this very well about, 5 C's of customers, but we have not, exactly, looked into these areas because this is not very much into the like development financing area, but we need to know what are those 5 C's, right? So I will explain with the kind of answer. We right now we also identified this as 6 C's, but generally initially comes with the 5 C's. So in 5 C's, it's like capacity, collateral, capital, conditions, and character. When it comes to the 6 C's, the capacity has been segregated to two, that is cash flows and capacity. Right, I will explain it further. When you say under 5 C's capacity, it talks about the ability of the firm to repay the loan, which include both qualitative and quantitative capability. When you say quantitative, it's about DSCR, interest rate, availability of cash flows, like numbers. When you say capability, it's about capability to run the business, like management capability, marketing capability, so and so forth. So in 6 C's, we have identified this as cash flow and capacity. In addition, collateral, capital, conditions, and characters. But 5 C's, cash flows and capacity, or the capability, is coming to as one, which taken as capacity. Collateral is basically the security is given by the firm to secure the particular credit. So it's basically it's a secondary source of repayment also. The first way out is cash flow. Second way out is kind of a collateral. Third one, capital, owner's investment, owner's obligation, owner's commitment. So that's what the capital. The fourth one, a condition, is equal to overall economic climate, external environment surrounding the bank, and which business firms and also how business fits into it. Like when you say conditions, it's like internal and external both. Like internal condition is something like, loan related condition, but externally, see the bigger picture, it's all about, environmental, marketing, political. So in the bigger picture, what the conditions apply to the running of the business. Fifth one is very crucial and important, character. So it's a very, the behavior, beliefs, attitudes, right, which relevant to the client, right? How he behave, prior lending and post lending scenario. This is like, the when you are trying to evaluate whether it's SME customer, microfinancing, it's a project financing or whatever. So we try to use some techniques. So 5 C's is one of those techniques that the examiner has, asked it, but I just wanted to, clear it here. Later also we can touch this, but I just want to, because this is not exactly coming in the development financing syllabus. It's coming from credit management to here, but better we need know this, like, you know, some basic like capacity, collateral, capital condition, character kind of thing, because now later when we discussing the project finance related, I will further highlight on this, but since it come here and it's kind of basic, I just want to highlight here. So if we ask about 5Cs, what the answer is: capacity, collateral, capital conditions, and character. If we ask 6Cs, it's cash flow, capacity, collateral, capital conditions, and character. Right? Any questions? Any questions on this? Any questions? May not be difficult, but you might have heard somewhere else. Have you heard it earlier? Lavan, have you heard it about 6Cs and 5Cs? Shashika? Samindri? Have you heard it earlier, the 6Cs? So obviously on the rate management, right? Or 5Cs? Hope this is understood, right? Any difficulty? Is it clear? Yeah. Hope this is clear, Samindri. Thanks. So we'll move to next one, because it's like basic, but better we know. So sometimes we need that in rate management also. Next one. Briefly explain each of the following types of lending. Give an example of a financial product relevant to each lending method. So we have discussed this in theory class. That is, we have discussed four areas: that security or collateral based lending, cash flow based lending, fee based lending, and uh, project based lending. Those are the four things that we have discussed in classroom as a theory. But here he has asked about brief explanation on security, but each of those products, right? So what you could do here is, right, uh, because now since you know better of this, so you can mention maybe one line as in, so we will go by the answer, but before that, the answer plan should be, so maybe the introduction, like one line: what is security based or asset based, collateral based lending. Then you can talk about some advantages or disadvantages, since we have discussed it. So you can write, so one advantage, one disadvantage there. Then you can give up with the example here, because he has asked it. So like there may be 3 or 4 lines, you can, have it. It's much better. And then since you know it's very clearly, since we have learned it in detail, like, so you can take some out of what the examiner suggested here, but you can have a better answer, by providing uh, what we learned during the class also, right? So the security based and the cash flow based, so there are two areas. And then you can, mention it like some introduction, that's one line: what is security, what is its cash flow like. And then number two could be, second line could be some advantages, third line could be some disadvantages, fourth line could be a example, right? So now we, based on that, so you can have your answer, but also we read what the examiner has suggested. Practice of making loans using securities as collateral. Security-based lending provides ready access to capital that can be used for almost any purpose, such as buying real estate, purchasing personal property like jewelry, or investing in the business. So it's like when you say security-based, collateral-based, asset-based is something we predominantly depend on the collateral. Like it could be a land, it could be a cash, it could be a jewelry, it could be a vehicle. Like, so based on the value of the collateral, you decide it. What are the advantages is like, easy to judge, easy to, offer. The disadvantage could be like that's not linked with the repayment, so we never know the end use kind of thing. And the examples could be term loans, it could be OD, cashback OD, it could be pawning, right? It could be gold loan. Those are some examples, right? I don't think it's difficult, but you have to have now very much comprehensive answer in this type of a question, because since we have learned it and it has been given by the examiner, So you have now two inputs and have a better answer prepared for yourself. Now, cash flow base is something, the second one we learned it. Again, you can have introduction, advantages, disadvantages, and some examples. So those are the 4 lines that you can write it based on what we learned. So shall we read what the examiner has suggested? In cash flow lending, financial institutions grant a loan that's backed by the recipient's personal or business cash flows. By definition, this means that a company borrows money from expected revenues they anticipate they receive in the future. A company that is attempting to meet its payroll obligation might use cash flows finance to pay its employees now and pay back the loan and interest on the profits and revenue generated by the employees on a future date. So the cash flow based lending is like something you try to, arrange based on your present day cash flow, not the future cash flows, not the expected cash flows. It's like imminent, it's recent, it's current. It could be working capital financing, it could be personal loans, it could be debtor financing, examples for cash flow based lending. So you try to, make to meet operational expenses or maybe related expenses which could be realized by the realizing of cash flows. That's what generally we will understand as cash flow based lending, right? And examples like it could be personal loan, like working capital financing, or even the microfinancing are cash flow based lending. But the difference between the cash flow based lending and the project lending is, when you say cash flow based lending, it is more current, right? So you can understand the cash flows exactly. It could be generated through your general profit and loss account, or it could be realization of some current assets, right? It could be something that you are earning. So because you know that maybe as your payroll, because you know exactly this is how much you are earning, there's no doubt about it, right? So based on that, so you can arrange a loan. But when you say cash flow based lending on project, that is the future. So that's a forecasted. So future cash flows, it's not imminent. It's not sure. It depends on so many other factors. So that's a, like, the criticality in cash flow based lending in terms of project. So that's why we are trying to learn it as cash flow based lending is basically more or less current, and project financing or project lending, project based lending is more or less future. So the futuristic expected cash flows. So if you categorize total set of lending methods, one could be asset or collateral based lending, security based lending. The rest, the number 2 could be cash flow based lending, which is current, based on the current cash flows. Third one, project lending, which is based on the future cash flows. The last one, which we have not included here, fee based lending, that you basically, your offering is based on the fee income that you are getting. Hope you understand that 4 areas, because here he has given us only 2. Maybe next time we will be getting the other 2 also, or in the combination, right? I don't think any difficulty here, but when you are trying to answer, what you can do is, we have learned something during the class. The examiner has also given something indifferently. So you have to have a very proper answer in this case, right? So then it won't be a big deal in case if the examiner gives it again, right? Right. What you can do is you can combine some of the content based on the suggested answers and what we learn, and you need to have like maybe point form answer in terms of next case if examiner gives it again. Any questions? Anything that you can add here? Difficulty? Is it clear? Ravindu, anything that you need to update it again? Is it clear? How do you see this? Is it difficult to answer this type of a question, or is it easy? Hirosha, Shashikar, how do you see this type of questions? Is it difficult? Clear, right? Thanks, Ravindu. Hope others also getting it clear. If anything, please, let me know. Right. We'll move to the next part. These are not, difficult, but I just wanted to make a kind of understanding what type of questions are coming, representing the initial 3 or 4 areas, right? Then question 3, briefly explain with examples the main characteristics and purpose for which each of the following financial products would be offered to customers. So this is, the very common question the examiner would provide us, right? So that's why I wanted you to read that additional reading on the products I given under SME, right? Where the examiner would test us on short write-ups on products. So you need to know at least 12 to 15 products by memory, and then we need to reproduce them in the exam. So earlier also, like we learned something yeah, sometimes no, it is not yeah, earlier. What you could do here is, so we will read the answer. Before that, I will again give you a kind of some template answer plan. Let's say he wanted us to discuss a product type, a method or a methodology, whatever. Then what you could do is you can have at least 4 or 5 lines exactly identified with respect to product. Even you are going to learn this in that way. I mean, when you are trying to memorize a kind of a product, so you have to have an order. Maybe the first line could be the introduction, right? What is the particular product? 1 line introduction. Second line could be some highlighted, basic, important key features of the particular product. Third line could be some advantages and disadvantages relating to that particular product. Fourth line could be risk mitigants attached to the particular product. Fifth line could be example relating to that particular product. So sometimes you might not be able to find all 5 with respect to a particular product, but in most cases you are. So what you have to do is you have to, memorize it in a way that you get an idea in case if the examiner gives it again, you are going to write your answer on that answer plan. And take example, say overdraft. Our examiner has written it more or less in the essay type, but we are not ready to write these essay type answers. So we are ready to write point form answer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, one could be something like, say, introduction. What the introduction could be, examiner has also given it. Overdraft is a product, a working capital product, which aims to finance in a company's day-to-day overhead expenses. That's the introduction we can give it. Then key features. What are the key features? It is like, we approve with the limit, trying to review it every year, and it's demanded at a given time, then you have to repay it. Only interest payment, no capital payment. It's like there are some key features that you can understand and identify particular product. That's number 2. What could be number 3? Advantages and disadvantages. What are the advantages? When you offer OD, it is easy to operate. right? Easy to understand, simple in operation, right? Because not like short-term loan. I mean, you have to uh, put a request and approve it from the bank end and give it for a 3 month, 6 month, then follow it up, get settled. But here it is not very simple, right? You write a check and once you approve OD, so there's no operational hassle, right? The client can use it at any time as long as it's operating within the limit, right? So easy to operate, easy to understand. You can write a check and so you can operate the OD. What are the disadvantages? End use cannot be ensured. The OD can't be monitored like other products, right? Disadvantage. And then it can maybe lead to what do you call hardcore level. Some disadvantages. Then next line, risk and mitigants. What's the risk? A risk could be, again, since end use cannot be ensured, the client may not be in a position to pay it back using the cash flows, because that OD can be used to purchase a land instead of a working capital. Then when it comes to repay at maturity, for example, when the bank is going to demand that, the client doesn't have the cash flows. That's the risk. The mitigants could be, you can review it quarterly. You can ask the customers to route some cash flows. You can introduce some cash buildups, right? You can ask the client to assign some turnover. Those are the mitigants over OD operation. And what are the examples? OD. It could be temporary OD, it could be casual OD, it could be permanent OD. Or give an example, saying the client is running a, say, manufacturing operation, maybe approving OD limit to finance day-to-day expenses, to meet utility bills, to pay salaries, to have certain purchases. That's the example you can give. Now see, if you have a plan, right, you can have a very comprehensive answer. Rather than just write it, can get maximum marks. Generally, you need to write 4 or 5 lines, get 5 marks. But when you say, if you see these two answers, the examiner has, written something. But there are not many points has been covered here. 3 to 4 points are there, but not exactly, covered here. So it could be a problem if, in case, if we are unable to catch it up, right? Give me a minute, please. Right. So basically now the examiner has written some the answer, but may not be very much clear as we have discussed. So for my advice is to you is, it's good that you can prepare your answer in a way that we discussed. So you can have your own answer plan about maybe even different points, but it should be different points and covering different areas. So what our plan is, write 5 or 6 lines or 4 or 5 lines, introduction, key features, advantages, disadvantages, risk and mitigants, and the last one could be some example. It could be example that you can create it and write it, or like OD that you can say type of OD sort of thing, or the utilization opportunity occasion in OD. That's what you can write it here. Let's see what the client, the examiner has given as suggested answers under the pledge and the OD. A pledge loan, he basically given in development lending, this product is very useful as a working capital financing, where pledge of goods could be taken as security for the facility, thereby giving lesser burden to the promoter in offering security for total project financing. This also allows the promoters to stock seasonal raw materials, finished goods to have better margins in use in different periods by settling part by part the facility and taking a maximum utilization material stock pledge. Yes, he has given it. Maybe purpose it has given introduction is there, some advantages of it, and utilization. But good that if you can write something about some risk in this. What are the controls in the pledge loan? What could be the risk? Any suggestion? Because it's totally about the stock, right? So the stocks could be outdated, or the stocks could be put in fire, or the mitigants could be you can have insurance, you can have dual control, you can visit and inspect like regular inspections. So those are something that you can think of, right? So maybe example is like a pledge loans in paddy storing, a pledge loan in terms of mortgaging a kind of a stock which has been imported for manufacturing company. So like that, you can give an example there also. So some things are missing here. So what you could do here is you can take this and put your answer plan. Then you have a better answer. Maybe next time that he might ask to write an import loan, a packing credit loan, or maybe a term loan, right? But you need to have very proper answer in such a scenario. OD also similar. Product, working capital financing, without having a constant repayment amount payable and installment will help the promoters to finance fluctuating working capital requirements of the project. So basically he has given the introduction, given the briefing about OD operation features. Also helps the promoter repay settle entire advance at once when the sale proceeds realized by them rather than making regular payments as installment. So that's again some advantages. And also he mentioned about some features, right? So time to time payments are not required. Once you can settle it and redraw it, only interest payments kind of thing. So something I'm missing here about risk mitigants, which you have discussed a bit earlier. So I think you get what I'm mentioning, because now whenever trying to put an answer, so always try to go with the kind of model answer plan, then it's easy. So whenever you are memorizing 12 to 15 products, so you also have to memorize those in a way that it could be easy to take on it, because otherwise it may be difficult for you to memorize and by heart and do it, then go and apply in the past paper. So best way is like try to put it to order and get the kind of things clear. Like any questions up to now? Last question, we are unable to do it right now. It could be done after the working capital computation. But this is basically the questions that we are so far discussing about something relevant to section 1 to 4 about products, product operations, product methodologies, and some product the client assessment, and bit of microfinancing, between the project financing and those areas. Any questions? Any questions? Thanks, Roshan. Right. Yeah. In case of pledge loan, Samindri, like take example paddy. So what we are trying to do here is, so we provide a loan to client to purchase paddy, right? So he can store it at his own premises. Could be a dual control. We also have an we also have an control and monitoring operation, and then so we approve 10 million. The client purchased 10 million and keep them in the store, right? So let's say in a bigger example, the client put up a price the paddy mill, and we finance land, building, machinery, and even working capital. So for the working capital, now we need not to give a long-term financing, but we give a pledge loan. So for the client also, the client has not to put equity for that because it's a very short term. So bank provide a short-term financing loan called pledge. Using that money, the client purchasing paddy and store in a customer designated area. When you are operating the mill, you will dispatch. You taken away some of the stocks there and put it to the factory and making rice and come back like that. So, or the client can sell it to third parties also. Whenever you sell it, you get the money. You put it to the rice, you get the money, and then that will come to reduce your pledge loan exposure. Means it's like a working capital facility to provide day-to-day working capital, which will put the lesser burden on the client and bank on term financing. So if you are trying to put that the same financing through a term loan, which is a hassle for you with the controlling and all that, because it's a long-term loan, give it to purchase working capital. But here it is not. The pledge loan specifically for the working capital. The beauty here is you have a stock under control. Stock under you and the control of the client. You can do insurance also if required. So the same is being financed through a bank funds, but in a short-term nature. Whenever you put in additional stocks, there may be fund increases. When you are dispatch, when you are sale, the fund coming down. So the pledge loan will be like short-term revolving, going up, going down within a kind of limit. Will it be okay, Samindri? Repayment is basically, let's say, if the 6 month for the pledge loan, within the 6 months, if you are selling that, it will be come down. So let's say at the maturity, generally it has to pay. Even before the maturity, if you want to sell some of your stock, put it into the rice operation, then you can reduce the exposure. Right? Each loan, like we will have an pre-arrangement about 6 months to 3 months to like that, depending on the working capital cycle. In general, in paddy, it's like 6 months. So within the 6 months, you have to pay, or at the maturity. So like another short-term loan, but we'll cap it. Other than the paddy, it could be something. Let's say you are stockist of bringing some raw material to paper industry, for example. So you might import and keep some stocks, and then you will give that to the paper manufacturers. That you're doing just stockist loan. What you could do is, again, you will have a pledge loan up to say 10 million, for example. And so we'll import something and you will keep that in the store. So whenever you are releasing to the manufacturers, you get the money and reduce the exposure. That's right. Anything, it could be a kind of a stock under the control, both bank and the client. But it is in the client premises. That's the difference here. Right? So the bank is basically financing, but with a dual control, because it's the ownership still with the client, but the control is dual. So otherwise, what happens is everything is the client, then we don't have anything, no. But here we have a control over the good. Okay, right. Great. Samindri, you have asked, will be able to score marks if we explain this in our own views and words? Yes, no issue. That's what I'm telling, Samindri. Let's say now, when you say maybe whatever the paddy, whatever the pledge loan, or whatever the short-term loan, hypothecation, or whatever, so what you would have to do is you basically you have to have a kind of some answer plan, where introduction, like maybe I mentioned features, advantages, disadvantages, risks and mitigants, and the example. These are the 5 lines that we are try to write it. And then you have to see a particular product, let's say OD, maybe term loan, maybe a project loan, maybe hypothecation or whatever, pledge, import loan, TR loan. There are so many things, no? Letter of credit, bank guarantee, right? So then you try to bring some product features into the model that we are planning. Introduction, key features. Sometimes there may be advantages, disadvantages for some product, but sometimes you don't have it for other products, right? So then we shouldn't be worried. Whatever we have it, you plug it there. At least 4 lines that should be your target. Then maybe you can have your own word trees on that, but only thing is should be relevant to the answer. When you say the pledge, the operation is something the client's stock in client's custody with the bank's control, and we will finance in the particular stock to support the customer's working capital. That's what the pledge, you know. So you can put it your own words, and then you can build on your answer about, you know, the key features, what are the advantages, disadvantages, some risk mitigants, like that. So that's basically the plan. You need to have it. Is it clear, Samindri? Okay. What about others? Any questions? Any you know, difficulty, area? It's not, you know, not you know, the sort of a difficulty here, but the only thing is you need to have a sort of you know, better answer in terms of you know, when you are, you know, giving the answer in terms of examiners sort of what we call uh, requirements, right? That's why I'm telling sometimes you know, you can score many marks, but you might not sorry, you expect that you can get you know, many marks, but you will not be able to achieve it, basically because the way we present it not very clear. Even if you see the suggested answers, that you can see some of the things are not exactly captured with 2 or 3 points only there. But when we go to the marking, because the what we have been instructed is at least there should be 4 points to give 5 marks. But if you can't have 4 points, then we are unable to give 5 marks to the particular student. So that's what I'm telling. So before going to the exam, so you need to prepare yourself, right? In that case, so there won't be any issues at the examination. Right. Hope you understood. So we discussed something in relevant to first 3-4 sections. Then we will continue in terms of SME and related issues, right? This is again very common question. Most SMEs are managed by entrepreneurs without basic financial reporting and assessment process in terms of relevant accounting standards. As a result, many SMEs tend to become bankrupt due to poor financial management. What's meant by bankruptcy of enterprise? What are the major reasons that could lead to bankruptcy of enterprises? So very common question. So sometimes you can answer this question without attending classes. It's a very general question, but you can see it has put to a 5 marks question also. This is very important. And what my advice is, now going forward, now you have to have develop your answer plan for this, right? SME facing issues. That's what, no? Generally, SME is facing different issues. That's what he's asking. So if we have a template to understand the issues faced by entrepreneurs enterprises, SMEs, then we can have that set answer for many questions. Right? Here he is asking bankruptcy and major reasons for the bankruptcy. Means what are the major issues faced by the clients? Ultimately, their business become non-profitable or collapse. So ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නයකට දෙන උත්තරය අනුව අපිට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට හදාගන්න පුළුවන් අපේ ආන්සර් ප්ලෑන් එක SMEs ලගේ issues මොනවද? What are the problems facing SMEs? So ඒක මේකෙන් ගන්න පුළුවන්. You can develop on that. Generally, what do you mean the bankruptcy is something? Because let's say, what's the ideal situation? Ideal situation is client should generate adequate money or expenses to run the business continuously, right? So means that, let's say that if the client is not in a position to meet the credit obligation, including long-term, short-term debt, then we say that he is in a difficulty, right? That also in more technically we say it's bankruptcy. So means that the legal status of entity that cannot repay debts it owes to creditors or its outstanding debts, like whether the client, whether the entity is unable to meet debts which is owed by the creditors is basically called as a bankrupt situation. So there is a no very hard and fast rule, but if it is coming again, that you should know what is bankrupt. Client is going to bankrupt, is bankrupt. So we may have heard it. Means that, is not able to meet the obligations of creditors. What are the creditors? We have long and short. Long term is something lease creditors, bank creditors, and maybe preference shareholders, like that's a long term creditors. Short term is basically short term debts, overdraft, right? Short term liabilities with the bank and financial institutions. If you are unable to meet those, means you are in trouble. In other terms, more technically, you are bankrupt. That's what we say. So then the most important issue is what causes you bankrupt? What made you bankrupt? That's what we need to understand. What are those? Answer is also there. Can you think something more here than look into this answer? What are those? Anything other than mentioned here? What are those? Right. First, we look into this market condition, financing problems, poor planning decision making, management concerns, other factors are some of these things. Like, just think about, let's say you run in a business and you have some plans, and what made you difficult to repay the debts? It could be due to marketing problem. It could be due to environmental problem. It could be due to management problem. It could be due to government actions like taxes, duties, and all that sudden stoppage of some materials or your production. It could be due to some other factors like project related, technical related. Understand? Very simple. Think in that way. When you say market, what is market? Later also we learn what's like market appraisal and all that. But before think, what's the market issue? Could be competition. Or it could be the customer preferences states may have come down. Or maybe durability or the product and all that. So that may have an impact. Like that, there are so many other things also. So very simple. I mean, don't think like, you say bankruptcy, I haven't heard that word. And then there's a 5 marks question. What should I do? No, very simple. think how the businesses are run and what could be the impact. Like, market obvious has impact, no? These days we have seen, no? Like other factors like environmental issue. There may be so many environmental factors. It could be sound too, heart pollution too, and so many other things. And maybe the COVID impact. Nobody would have thought. So that resulted some business to collapse, wind up. Then management problems. There may be problems among the members, among the parties, or some kind of issues created between employees, strikes, which have impact on your productivity, outcome, right? So many things you can find. And then poor planning, decision making. Maybe your budgets, maybe strategy may be good, but implementation is not so great, right? And then maybe very key persons may have left from the company, right? So those are the things that you need to be worried. Then other factors, it could maybe not exactly mentioned, but due to project issues, operational issues, right? So about technological impacts, so many things can have an impact. So if you think in that way, it is easy you to come to kind of answer, right? And then again, you can have your answer plan before going to the even the exam, because we know the examiners ask here issues for bankruptcy. But similarly, you can also highlight the issues faced by the SMEs. See, isn't this relevant to that question? If the examiner wanted us to talk about what are the issues faced by SMEs, most of these things are issues faced by the SMEs, entrepreneurs, clients. So most of the things are common to that type of question also. The answer could be based on this. So that's why I'm telling it is easy when you are going through past papers and have some models developed. Like SME, it's a definition, some products, services, problem faced by the client, what are the remedial actions, right? I mean, lending methodologies, like that. So you can have a diagram, like microfinance we did. So then you know what's the definition, what are the sectors example, what are the problems like this, what are the remedies there should be come further, what are the lending methodologies, what are the products on balance sheet, off balance sheet, and you are trying to learn maybe 10 12 products, and the product also 1 2 3 4 5 what are you trying to do. So in the A4 sheet that you have everything related to SME. So this type of questions will help us to map our strategies, map our answer plans. Right? Any questions on the template before moving to the answer discussion? Anything that you have an issue? Yes, බංකොලොත් වීම කියන එක තමයි bankruptcy කියන එක තමයි අපි ඒ විදිහ තමයි කියන්නේ. Because the legal status means when you are say bankrupt, that you need to define the bankruptcy. Why that you say you are saying that you are not going to pay? You need to prove it legally in terms of technically, because of this that you are bankrupt. නැත්නම් මට කියන්න පුළුවන් මම මේ bankrupt වෙලා ඉන්නේ මට මේ ගෙවන්න බෑ කියලා. We have to prove it because cash flows and the surpluses are not there. There may be debts that you owe, you are unable to pay. So you have to justify it in terms of accounting, and then you have to say you are no more in a position to pay it. එහෙම නැත්නම් about කියන්න පුළුවන් I am bankrupt, I can't pay, and so kind of no, it's not. But legally also you will understand that situation. In case of courts, that when you say bankrupt, you need to prove that you don't have any cash flows, you don't have any sources of income to repay your debts. Any other question? Any further question? Right. What about others? Others are not speaking, so means that everything is under control. Right, thanks, Ashika. But so we'll continue with the answer. It basically market condition. Poor condition in overall economy and the specific market in which a business operates are common cause for bankruptcy. Like if you take today's example, right, it could be about COVID, could be some market related. So maybe economic growth may have come down, issues in balance of payment, maybe tourism is not happening, right? So in overall, there is a dull market. We have an issue, right? If the economic conditions are poor, if the people's purchasing power is not so great, so there are so many things out there will have an impact. Okay. Financing problems. Financing is one of the primary challenge that small business face. Many business owners take out loans to help finance their operations. If a business struggles, his lender may not be willing to grant additional funding, which could lead to bankruptcy. So example, let's say how we are trying to finance. If you remember sources of financing, there are so many methods that you can get the financing, including your friends to kith and kin to, your savings to, banks to, non-financial organizations to, international organizations, so many things. But depending on your caliber, that the level that you can reach is remote, limited. Because if you are a small entrepreneur, you can't go to the international market and borrow. No? Maximum you can go to maybe non-financial organization or so many, but even you may not reach to the bank sometimes. So limited. Even within that, you try to get it, but later if you want to further enhancement, maybe the banks are unable to give, financial organizations are unable to give due to various reasons, due to your establishment nature, due to the security, due to cash flows, due to mismanagement, so many things. So then what happens is, then you can't expand your operations, or you can't meet the customer targets. So which means you have some problems. You have some problems that might lead to collapse your business, because now you need working capital. Let's say now you get order day by day, but you are unable to support the working capital. Then what happens? Then problems to run the organization, to pay salaries, to meet demand. Then competitors can encroach your market. They lose, you lose your business to them. So it's a cyclic effect. Finally, your turnover cash come down. Then you have some problems. Then poor planning and decision making. So lack of planning and level-heading thinking can lead to hasty decisions and business failure. That may be because maybe one-man show, for example, or you are not listening to your uh, management staff, right? You are trying to take very quick calls, or your decisions are not planned enough, where your competitors are otherwise. You have some problems there. Management problems, disagreements among the management, owners, could lead to problems. It's a partnership, it's a company, wherever. Other factors like poor business location, loss of key employees, competitors, personal issues like illness, death of a key partner, unforeseen disasters or criminal activity like flood, storm, fire, theft, even the COVID. So many things can be uh, cause the bankruptcy. So basically the question is, what is bankruptcy and what causes a particular entity bankrupt? So the answer is very comprehensive. The same content of this answer could be useful to other questions that examiner put us. It could be something, issues faced by the SMEs, or problems faced by SMEs, challenges faced by the SMEs. So whatever the examiner put us in that way, that you should be able to answer it. Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Yeah, hi Andrew. Full screen option. Let's see what we can do is, shall I? Andrew, is it clear now? Because today I think I have some issue in the projecting here, because earlier also we had some issues. What about now? Is it okay, Andrew, now? You can see better?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Andrew. Right. So now we move to the question number 2. Prior to that, any questions on that? Too clear? Andrew, you join a bit later, but hope you can understand, and going through the past, this thing is not very difficult. But only thing that we have discussed so far is like, the models, structures, right? The methodology in building a kind of answer. Even this question, what I wanted to see it in differently, where if you can get this content developed for many other questions that the examiner could get about issues faced by the problems, challenges, right? So many questions could be answers using this. So අන්න ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් ඔලුවට ගන්න. මොකද එතකොට කටපාඩම් කරන්න එහෙම බලන්න ඕනේ නැහැ හැමදේම. මේ questions අපිට useful වෙන්න පුළුවන් අර වගේ දෙයකට. Right. So we try to move to the next question. So we'll take 2 minutes break, and then please go through this answer and the question, and then we will discuss in 2 minutes. Right. Okay, let's start. Hope you can see the screen. So it says, briefly explain how an SME could benefit from the cash flow statement. This is again a question examiner has put it in more practical perspective, because now generally these are what we learn in even time to come also. What is P&L, what is balance sheet, what is cash flow, kind of thing. So though we learn in that way, the examiner wanted us to write an answer in a different way. Why it is useful? Not only SME, all entrepreneurs, project financing customers, right? For a customer, why it is benefited? That's what the question is, right? So then you need to have a better answer, which may not be found out in our day-to-day lessons. So that's why I wanted also you to parallelly look into the past paper questions also. There we can get more support in case for the future questions. Prime objective of preparing the cash flow is to ascertain the reasons and the changes in cash position of the business, while it also provides the information in relation to receipts and payment of cash. So basically we learn in a later bit P&L, balance sheet, cash flow. So P&L is basically it's a profitability, balance sheet is so asset liability, and the cash flow is the real cash position, right? Which basically what are the cash flow or cash in, cash out, cash inflow, outflow. Basically, detail of cash inflows and outflows are in knowing the status, knowing the situation of cash in and cash out is the objective of the cash flow, which is very important. Wherever you mentioned that I am profitable, this much of turnover company, all that, that's correct. But real interest is for you as an entrepreneur or even as a banker, what is your cash in, what is your cash out, and what's the surplus? That's a line one. Helps in managing business efficiently, enables to evaluate the cash portion, financial policies, business effectively. Great help to undertake financial operations of the business in an appropriate manner. So later we can learn it in generally in the cash flow statement. It talks about your cash policy, cash strategy, how much that you plan to have your cash sales, credit sales, the data collection, right, and the bad debts like that. So everything is depend on what's your cash requirement, whether to go short-term debt, long-term debt, maybe pricing of loans, pricing of your products and services. So everything is basically is coming from the inputs from the cash flow statement, right? That's the important, right? So generally, then let's say competitors are offering maybe 60-day credit, but you may not offering 60-day. Why? Because if you are offering 60-day credit, probably you might have problems in cash flows. Or whereas in the other side is competitors offer 60, but you go to 75 because your cash strength portion is great, better. You getting my point? Like that, what's your cash strategy? What is your policy? Will be decided on the status of the cash flow. That's number 2. Third one is generally in a cash flow, you have activities like financing, operating, investing. There are 3 methods, 3 activities. So you segregate it and you look into what are my operating cash flows, what are my investment cash flows, what are my financing cash flows. Because here it is not exactly relevant into section 1 to 4 because we are trying to learn this in a later stage. But I just wanted to have your eyes open the question the examiner put to us. He might ask very simple question: what are the the financial statements that the client is maintaining? Give a brief description of this financial statement, or discuss the importance of the financing statements. If the examiner is asking that type of a question, you can use these inputs to answer that. When you say why the cash flows statement is important කියලා අහුවාම මේ කියන කොටස් ටික අපිට ඒකට පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ කියන්නේ benefits from cash flow. Then in other terms, imports of the cash flows කියලා කියන්නේ ඒකේ අනිත් පැත්ත වගේ නේ. So in that way we can use this answers to most of those questions. Right? What I am telling you is now when you read through, going through, looking to the answers, most of the answers of the particular question can be a platform or a base to many other questions. Etakota, how we are going to prepare all those things is, let's say when come to the financial statement, then what are the financial statements? Why it is important? Right? What are the the problems in assessing these financial statements? So like that, there may be several projections that we can use based on these statements, based on these cash flows, based on these financial statements. So A slide එකේදී එහෙම නැත්නම් A4 sheet එකේදී ඔයාගාව ඒ තියෙන ඔක්කොම ටික ගන්න capture වෙන්න. When we are taking financial statement, maybe session 7 I suppose, එතකොට you need to know what are those financial statements, what is financial ratios, what are the methodologies in evaluating financial statement, what are the benefits of each statement, the definition, type of ratios. ඒ වගේ ඔක්කොම ටික එතන ඉගෙනගෙන ඉවර කරනවා. Because that has a link to here. Because here SME financial statement. Right? He can put that question here. But if you know something in the financial statement analysis, you can easily bring it to here. Here, it's a very common truth. It's explaining there's a distinct difference between income balance sheet with the cash flow. Because income statement or balance sheet are more or less reporting statements, right? It say, this is my turnover, this is my profit. Balance sheet, this is my asset portion, this is my liability. My performance and my position will be described with income and balance sheet respectively. But cash flow statement is a bit different. It talks about cash in and cash out. That tells you your repayment capacity. That tells your debt servicing capacity. That tells your financial or cash flow surplus, cash surplus. So very important document, right? So based on the examiner's question, so out of these three, the most important statement is the cash flow. Then P&L and balance sheet follows, right? So it basically, it further goes down here. We may not exactly, discuss these things here because asset liability equity, this is again balance sheet, but we will come back to this once we do the session 7, because I just wanted to discuss the SME and cash flow because it's linked to the SME. The rest is basically about balance sheet movement, right? This is important. This is again general question. Hope I think I have cleared it. Any question, please let me know, right? If you can put it, I can understand here, but I presume that we don't have any question on these areas, right? Right. What is the importance of preparation of financial performance statement of SME? How will statement help banks in making decisions for lending to SME? What is financial performance statement? First place, is it P&L, right? Income and expenditure statement. So generally, we have performance, we have position. Performance is P&L. Position is balance sheet. So in this question, first one, second question is the cash flow. Third question is balance sheet. The fourth question is P&L. Now remember how he's going to link it. We are trying to learn those things in session 7, but that's in detail about computation, ratios and all that. We will learn about some introduction to there, but that is linking to SMEs. That is, beauty. So then you need to understand when you say SME, or SME sheet, you have SME, definition, issues, problems, remedies, products, and all that is coming. But also you have to have some circle here about importance of financial statements to SME. So then SME examiner has question us on P&L, balance sheet, cash flows. Then we need to know what is P&L, what is cash flow, what is balance sheet, their content, importance. Then SME link to the section 7. 7 that's 2 is the SME. So then in a big picture, about say 10 A4 sheets, first one could be introduction, second one could be SME, third one could be microfinancing, fourth one could be a break-even, fifth one working capital, financial statement, then non-financial tools. ඔය විදිහට අපි යනවා sessions 12. ඒ යනකොට SME ගැන කතා කරනකොට ඔයාගේ sorry, third one could be microfinancing. ඒකේ වටේ බෝල 8ක් 10ක් තියෙනවා. ඒ 8ක් 10න් එකක් තමයි financial statement. Products and service, problem faced by SME, remedies for those, sources of financing, introduction, definitions. තේරුණාද? ඒ වගේ ටිකක් 8ක් 9ක් වගේ circles තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි වා විභාගයට කලින් බලන document. Then you don't face any problems. Financial statement, what are the questions? Maybe these are the questions. If you can mark 2019 March, question number 2 is balance sheet, P&L. In case of a doubt, you go back and see what the examiner's question and answers. So very comfortable there. Answer is assessed by giving a summary of how the business incurs revenue and expenses through both operating and non-operating activities. Also shows a net profit or loss. Important accounting documents is the statement of financial. Also simply called the income statement, known the P&L. So it's basically, it's give an introduction, what it contains, how it's been computed. That's a 3 points given here. Income statement important for banks because it shows the part 2, profitability of the company during the time interval, period of time that the statement covers chosen by the business and can vary, tend to be simple and practical to be adjusted and used by SME for working in all sectors. So basically It also talks about statement, why it helps to the banks, but you can add further on the part 2. What are the things that you can add? P&L helps to understand what? Expenses trend, and then cost breakdowns, and P&L some ratios also is important for us. Ratios is important. Trends, breakdowns of the items will be useful for bank in assessing the SME financial performance. You understand that? So here he has mentioned something, but you can include something further when you further learn that section 7, that you can improve your answer. But what I wanted to highlight here is that there may be questions not only SME. The questions from other areas can link to SME type of questions. But the challenge is for you to understand what are the areas which is relevant to SME. So now when you are developing your whatever A4 sheets or the answer plans, so you can use this type of questions to see the linkage between SME and other. Right. Any questions up to now? Any questions? Samindri, Andrew, Shashika, Lavan, any questions? Any questions? Take a minute and see anything that you need to clear on what we have discussed before moving to the next one. Nothing? All clear? So we move to the next one then, right? Okay. Here, kind of a repetition of a particular question, but it says bank have a number of conventional credit products designed to facilitate requirements of business customers, and these products can be modified to a credit package to facilitate SMEs. Briefly outline and explain the usefulness of each of the following products for SME credit. So basically it says you have to discuss about the product in terms of SME. Just we discuss the products, but here he wanted to describe it as SME, the product in terms of SME usefulness. OD. I think we will just read through those things that you can, be much prepared when you go through it, because it's nothing new. Basically, he discussed about the OD and the benefit for SME. Even in our answer also, what our plans is, in the OD, we are trying to say introduction, features, advantages, disadvantages, risk mitigants, and the example. So here he highlighted the advantages has to be included. So you can write the other in short and more advantages here. Flexibility, no settlement fee, customers to track record, reinvest back in it. These are some advantages. So now what the take home point here is, now when you read through these products, you can get something more than what we knew. So whenever you are developing your full answer for OD, you can use this into your template. Flexibility we knew, no settlement fee, customer track record, and reinvestment back into the business are some new, right? We discuss simpler, operation is easy, no more controls, some things that we see as advantages. In addition, no settlement fees, because they can, at any time they can settle it at the beginning, halfway through, at the end of the day, so like that. So those are something new for us. So take these features into your answer, comprehensive answer. When you are going through past paper questions about products, so each products will have a different answers. So you have to take everything and prepare a comprehensive answer for in case if it is coming again. But you can see the OD is like very frequently testing product. එතකොට ඒක එන chance එක වැඩි, right? So then talk about leasing. I think you can, I'm not going to read through refinancing, factoring. I think we have done everything in the class also, but I just wanted to go through this whenever you have time, and be prepared, because we have seen many a times examiner has tested us on these areas. Because when you say 4 products, 5 marks, and you can get 20. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, there are some different points, right? That what you can do is like, yes, we have a template, but don't limit to that template. Try to get some more points. If we can go to 7 points, yes, you develop the 7-point answer. Then write more important critical points in the answer sheet when you are attempting, right? Okay. It's a different question. Development of export sector has been regarded as a major need for assisting the country's development, although export sector has not come up to the stage so required. Economy for export promotion, and how you propose bank to assist those sectors in addition to existing bank rate facilities, right? So this is basically something that we can expect this time. So this time, so they try to test us on maybe particular sector, maybe after COVID. Like take example tourism. Now the tourism, now it's like at low ebb. Now we need so many support towards the tourism sector. Right now also the bank has granted so many concessions that you already know. And then sometimes they might ask what extra that you could do to revamp the tourism sector. What extra that you can do to revamp the agricultural sector in the present context where some ban on non-organic fertilizer. And every question so you need to be ready, because that's why I was inviting you to read some of the articles about the present trends, about economy, SME, then eva api kewa ganna one ekai. So මේ question එකෙන් අපි what we can go for the next is basically he can ask the same question about particular sector and what the banks could do. So tea industry, why it is important? High quality, second biggest income generation, and about 23% of global demand, and it brings foreign exchange, right? So it gives so many employment opportunities, right? And again, it gives Sri Lanka as a brand recognition. Sri Lankan tea. Those are some of the the background to the tea sector and importance to Sri Lankan economy, Sri Lankan bank, Sri Lankan clients, like that. Then the bank assistant. See what could be the assistant. These are some of the things. Financial assistance with capital expenditure and working capital expenditure. What are those? When you say capital expenditure, so you can elaborate here. It could be putting up new plants, new factories, purchasing some machinery, modification to the existing systems, right? And maybe introducing some technology, right? Those are some of the capex. And working capital, maybe purchasing green leaves, or maybe other stocking of finished tea, like that. So you can give some working capital facilities also. Rather than saying capex and working capital, you can give examples for the first one. invest in customer focused R&D with aim to offer novel financial products and services that meet changing demands of the rapidly evolving tea industry and value addition. So that's a very good point, because we have never thought about, like, so what you could do is, like, instead of giving capex and working capital financing, so you can, jointly, or you can give some concessionary funding the clients to invest on R&D, because it could help to bring our tea to next level. Maybe you can compete with foreign brands, or you can, come up with some new tea breeds which give more harvesting, right? Or that you can also involve in maybe methods where, like, in different tea end products, like, rather than you go with the traditional tea finish, you can go for like CTC, and there's another method of in the tea sector, some products which has a higher demand in international market. So like that, for that you need to do R&D. Or maybe another one, you can say environmentally friendly solution, like instead of using the firewood, you can use some other maybe burners or the ovens which use maybe biochemical instead of fire. So like that, environmental friendly solutions you can, introduce and promote, tea sector clients to that segment. That's another point. Third one, SME centers better accessible independence within the industry to benefit from the range of financial advisory services of the bank. Other than the financial products and services offering, that you can have SME centers invited clients to use that benefit. Could be IT to market to e-commerce to other the advisory services. So that you can do in terms of support. So this basically, this question is something new which we have never expected previously, but more practical. But in time to come, we can expect this type of a question. But you can go through about the other sectors also and think about in present context what actually happens in today in tea sector. Other than this, what we see is now with this fertilizer ban, now they are in a position, or they are in a problem to source fertilizer and then enhance the tea production. What you can do in addition what we have mentioned here? Any suggestion? Anything that you can bring here? Maybe together with central bank or together with other institutions that you can get together and you can do something. What are the industry support, bank support, financial support, financial sector support that you can give here in today's context of tea segment, tea sector? Any idea? Any thoughts? Kian Balan, what we can do? What we could do? කාටද සජෙස්ට් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? මොනවද අද, if you take in today's context, what we can do, what we should do? Especially in this scenario, what would you think? What is the major problem we are having? They are complaining about the lack of fertilizer. So the example, because it's the government also direction, what we could do is, we can promote the organic fertilizer. So we can arrange some seminars, so we can bring down some expertise, technological expertise, right? And to, promote the organic fertilizer among the tea manufacturers, right? So then sometimes you can introduce some financing schemes where to promote or process the organic fertilizer. So like that, those things that you can bring in today's context. Again, then there may be a chance where the examiner would test us on present context. He might ask the same question in today's context. What we could do to support the sector? Maybe tea sector, that what we can bring is the organic fertilizer support. That's what that we are worrying now, right? So if it's the tourism, so now tourism has come down to unexpected, unprecedented levels. Then what we could do, right? Maybe give some working capital financing, or maybe that you can get together with Sri Lanka Tourism Board and also some promote some financing where at a lower cost, or you can restructure particular credit. You can waive off some of the interest components with the kind of government involvement where treasury guarantee kind of thing. So that's what we have to do, right? So think more proactively, because there may highly likelihood that questions can be set up based on the present environment. May question can be put your test based on present environment. So what you could do is, when you're going through this, so think about future, think about present. What are the issues faced in the particular segment, and what we could do. Even agriculture sector is a common issue right now, fertilizer issue, and then price, certified price for paddy, certified price for rice are some burning problems, right? So as banks, how could you see it? How would you do? What's the support that you can do for end users like rice millers or the rice stockists and the agricultural like cultivators? So what you could do? Maybe you can promote something like organic fertilizer. For that, you can introduce some financing. You can introduce some non-financial support like advisory services. Because we are entity, you have some branch network. You can get together with other organizations and you can offer a better solution. Hope you understand, right? Because what I want to you to invite is, I mean, don't wait for the last moment. The Vipage in a Satikil Adame Prastatika Belwood, you may not be thinking this. Right now, you go into the question and see if the examiner gives this question today, what would be my answer? Not stopping at here, you will add some more. Then whatever the industry being given, you are in a better position to answer at the examination level. Right. We can read through the fisheries and the tourism, because this is something earlier. Now you can put something about the COVID, what we have discussed here. Right. This is the kind of a last question. But before that, any questions that you have? Andrew, Lavan, Samindri, any questions? Shashika, Irosha, Udita, you have joined. Any questions? Anything to clarify? Any ambiguity? Thanks, Samindri. I presume the rest is also with what we have done, and we will take some time to complete that the last microfinancing question. It says, so specialized credit delivery, support income generation and employment through formal financial sector, and always operates as credit plus service. So question 1, who are the beneficiaries targeted in microfinancing delivery? Explain why, which we have done earlier also. Means financial package consists of credit, literacy, financial inclusion, and business management advice, special in helping poor who have business skills. So it basically talks about not only the lending, micro loans, micro remittances, micro savings, micro insurance, and non-financial services, which is aiming to a poor households having some business skills, not adequate financing. Aim for reducing the poverty by providing opportunity for the poor get out of the poverty through business. The beneficiaries are persons below the poverty line. So target market is being explained, and why it is explained is basically the objectives. The 4 objectives which we discussed in the presentation you can bring here. Elevation of poverty, standard of living enhancement, empowerment of women. So there are so many things as objectives. So bring that. 2 questions. Part 1 is target market. Part 2 is the beneficiary. So the why we do, what are the objectives. So part 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, part 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Give a very proper comprehensive answer. It's not now time consuming because now we have learned it several times, and then you have to have ready-made answer for this. Then essential elements make up the key features of microfinancing. It's something, the features of microfinancing proposition, like group-based lending, you know, providing the financial literacy, women empowerment, and then savings, promoting the savings habit, and then small loans, kind of manual monitoring, close supervision, right? So those are some of the features. Those are essentials in the microfinancing delivery method also, because when you approve and when you disperse, when you recover, what are the things you will do? How you organize the total system is a kind of an answer. When you see what are the essential elements of microfinancing delivery mechanism, when you see that, don't panic, because it's something we have learned. But only thing is you have to put it to that perspective which answers the examiner's question. Grant of small value of loans without collateral, group-based borrowers or low or poor income group, large number of households or income generating activities, monitoring the borrower cash flow management, short-term loans with frequent installment, and higher rate, actually higher rate to cover the higher transaction and the higher operating cost. Those are some of the key features, essentials in microfinancing delivery. Not very difficult, but you have learned it. But again, examiner is asking in a different way. Then you need to have your answer ready for that. What are the major public concerns? What are the critics? Right? When you on microfinancing practices, make a hurry to hunt. Right? Because when you say microfinancing, even right now we are experiencing, what are the critics? What are the concerns? What are the areas that we need to be worried? Right? These are high interest rates, unethical recovery practices, abuse of deposits, consumer protection issues, high competition among the microfinancing providers, high indebtedness, like personal issues like suicidal attempts kind of thing. So many concerns, so many gray areas, so many problems. In this microfinancing practices still experiencing Sri Lankan context also. The last is major areas microfinancing act. If you remember, we discussed in the class because the examiner has asked it for exam also. At least you need to write 4 areas in the microfinancing act. Similarly, he can check this microfinancing act and what are the functions. That also has been tested in somewhere else. Right? This is out of there are so many things we have discussed, and because it's another microfinancing questions, because I wanted to take it just to say that the areas that he can test us. So just to recap what we have done so far. From day 1, we discuss about introduction to development financing, and day 2 we discuss about SME banking. Day 3 we talk about sources of financing. Day 4 we discuss about microfinancing. So while we are learning these 1 to 4 modules, I asked you to develop some answer plans, or maybe some A4 approach where each session will have subtopics. So when you say development financing introduction for SME financing, sources of financing, and microfinancing, there are 4 areas. Or you can combine SME and sources of financing together, or you can keep it set aside also. And when you are going through the questions from the last week and this week, you have seen how practical the examiner would put us when setting questions. Even the answers also, though we learned it in a class, but the answers are different format. We know it, but we have not developed the answer plans. So I invite you to have your answer plans developed, models developed, structures developed before moving to the next level or next session. It's high time, since we have passed 1 month. You can start right now, and then go through what are the areas that he has given under section 1 to section 4. Go back from last paper to 5 to 6 papers back and make a summary out of, say, section 1 question, section 2 question, or module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4 questions. Then we'll have a very comprehensive one answer, let's say SMEs. When you say SME, you know introduction of SME, products and services, issues faced by the SME, remedies for that, and then sources of financing. Like that, you have to have at least 8 to 9 subtopics. And each subtopic will also have some models also. When you say product, now we say 5 lines how we are writing the product description. Come to the microfinancing, similar. Nothing to worry, right? You have that same model developed. But only thing what you could do, since we have more time, you can prepare even right now. When come to the past paper, when come to the examination, then only you have at least 10 or 12 A4 sheets, which is each section we have discussed. And further what you could do is, let's say SME issues, maybe question number September Q2, like September 19 Q5. Then you go to the issues, you memorize what are the, like you project it, these are the issues. If you have in doubt, just go to the question and get updated. That is the way to prepare for the exam. I think easiest way. You have theory, you have reading material, you have presentation, you have past paper questions. And finally, reading materials outside what we learn here. Very important. As I invite you, day one, have a file, separate file, or could be a Google Drive, it could be in a hard copy, relevant to SME sector, microfinance sector, development financing sector, monetary fiscal policy, government direction. Very important. So bring down everything and read whenever possible. That might have a bigger impact in completing your answer. So what happened is, like if the examiner wanted us to write a short note on a sector relevant to today's context, microfinancing relevant to today's context, SME in relevant to today's context, you need to know what is happening in the bigger picture in the economy. If not, what happened is you try to put an answer which the examiner's suggested answers and your answers will have a kind of a discrepancy. In such a case, you may not get what the maximum marks that you are expecting to get. Hope you understand what I was telling. I am telling. I will repeat this, my sort of examination preparation in time to come also, but it's your duty to get ready and do this. Don't wait for the last moment. Right. So then once we have done, since we have done 1 to 4, and I presume the examination questions also is adequate to get an understanding about what type of questions to be getting. The next week and week after that, so we'll move to the project financing arena, where we try to understand some project financing supporting tools like working capital financing, financial statement ratio analysis, break-even analysis, and financial tools, and about detailed project tools, right? So finally, then we move to the project financing session. So that's my kind of a plan. I hope you are in line with what we are doing, but if you have any different plans, please let me know. So what should I do, like, because I think the way that we are attempting is much more beneficial too, because attempting some past paper questions relevant to particular area, so we'll give you a kind of some different insights, how the questions has been set kind of thing. So if you do have any different view, please let me know also. Right. First we see any questions, right? Any questions from your end? Tamindri, Andrew, Lavan, any questions? What we have done so far? And have you attempted going through the lessons that we have learned, or still that you want to, we have not attempted? My advice is just don't delay it. Wherever possible, start, question and do past papers, and as much as possible, write the answers and be ready. Then you are comfortable rather than looking the answers, just write it, because we have time. Maybe once a week, you can take 2 or 3 questions in a particular area. Let's say SME from 2015 to even right now. It's ample questions. See the question, see the answer, see the notes, and prepare your answer. I think by doing so, we'll be able to get maximum out of the questions. So that's how we have to do, especially when preparation of answers for exam. Because I guarantee if you follow that trend, that methods, you can easily get more than 65, right? Because it has been tested, proven, right? So whoever who has followed that kind of approach definitely will score, even has scored earlier, will score more than 65, because it's so simple. This paper is not difficult. Only thing is you need to prepare and you need to focus futuristic. The examiner would provide us the questions relevant to a present context. So then you need to have that forecast, a projection, that view. So otherwise, we might be in a trouble to understand the question. Like earlier, you remember when you say about SME, but in a cash flow, we never expect the cash flow statement is coming under SME, but he will ask that link, cash flow link into the SME customer. Then you need to know what is SME, what is cash flow, how we are going to link. When at the exam, probably you might not be able to do, but at leisure you can do, and then you can reproduce the answer. Okay. Any questions? Right. If you don't have any questions, so we can wind it up for today, and let's meet up usual time at 8 o'clock next week, and then we will start with working capital financing or break-even analysis. But don't make sure everybody to attend, because that's very some small questions but very important questions, like mathematical parts also there in the next 3-4 days. But let your friends to come and participate the class, then looking for the video, right? So then thank you very much for joining, and have a very great week ahead. Thank you.